Have you ever wondered what volatility is and what it means to you as a gambler and a player? I'm Lori.
I'm Pops.
And we're not just gamblers, we're informed players who are determined to understand the system. And we're also chasing the bonus. This is Real Gambling Talk. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Gambling Talk. So in this session today, we're going to be talking about volatility and what it means to you or us as players and what we want to understand about it. So we've thrown the word around volatility a lot, right? We, in our research again, we, did our own side quests and research to try to figure out exactly what volatility means, because we hear it a lot about machines. We hear low volatility, high volatility, and there's some things that we found out as revelations for ourselves that we got wrong.
Yep.
So what does volatility mean? Can you scratch the surface on that?
So what's interesting is I originally thought volatility meant the number of lines, right? I've always just equated to the number of lines on a machine. So
yeah.
The more lines, the more volatile the machine, the less lines, less volatile. But I was not right.
Yeah.
I was not correct, even though I'm beeping. What it actually means by definition is how often it, remind me again, it's how often it pays out.
Yeah, how often it pays out, and then it's how big those payouts are versus how big the payouts are.
Right. So how often the machine actually pays out versus how big those payouts actually are. Which,
or how often the slot pays. How often a slot
pays? Something like that?
How often a slot pays, not plays. Oh my gosh.
So, as we started researching this and as we started looking at this, I started really challenging my math and really challenging kind of what my original thought process was. Because I've always equated volatility to also go in with RTP.
Yeah.
And in reality, they are two totally different things, right? They're completely different. They're different beasts, right? We already know that RTP is how often or how much a machine is going to pay out over the life of the machine. So if a machine is at 96% RTP, that means over the life of the machine, it's going to pay back 96 cents on the dollar.
And I'll say it again, the life of a machine, millions and millions of spins.
Correct.
I did that like 4 times in that video.
All the way across. So what volatility actually is based on, it is based on the number of lines that the machine has. It is based on, how often that machine pays out. And if it has progressives, if it doesn't have progressives, if it has, huge progressives or must hit buys, all of that plays into volatility, into the definition of it. But at its core, volatility is literally just how often a machine pays out and how big those payouts are. That's it. So what we originally thought were low volatility machines just based on the number of lines, like we look at 5-line to 9-line machines that we love playing, the reason why we thought that those were automatically low volatility is because the number of spots that could line up, the way that the math worked out, and based on our experience, we've always gone a little bit longer on those machines. We've been able to actually extend our bankroll a little bit longer. But in reality, we are actually playing medium volatility machines on some of those 5 to 9 line machines.
We had no idea.
Grand Dragon, for example.
Grand Dragon, yeah.
Grand Dragon, we typically will play a 25-cent bet, 10 lines, so $2.50 minimum bet. What we're doing by doing that is we're actually turning off individual lines. We're taking away line hits that would normally hit. Even though they're going to hit for less because you're dividing your bet in half, you're still taking away the possibility of those line hits even happening.
Right.
So, and we've seen this, right? We've seen this when we've been on 10 lines. We're like, oh, that would have hit here.
That would have hit.
That would have hit here.
But the problem with that is you end up having to bet more. So on a 10 line, if you're doing $25, right? Or no, what is the next one? It's 5 lines, 10 lines,
and 20 lines.
Oh, and 20 lines.
Right.
Okay.
So you almost have to bet $5 over 20 lines.
Right.
In order to get the same kind of betting ground, the same betting environment, right? It's the same math per se. But in reality, and what we found in researching a lot of statistics from the Las Vegas Gambling Commission and a lot of different sources across the board, is that on those 20 lines, you're going to get more of what they call micro hits. You're going to get the 20-cent hit, 40-cent hit, 80-cent hit, $1.20 hits. You get more of those. So even though over the long shot, it feels like you're spreading your math, you're spreading your wealth a little bit more across a bigger plate, those micro hits are going to add up. You're going to get more out of that, more bang for your buck out of that 20 line than you will the 10 line. A lot of that comes down to, again, gambler's fallacy.
Yeah.
It
and
really
that
plays
emotional
into
betting too.
Right.
Emotional betting, yeah.
So that's been my experience on it thus far. That was kind of my aha moment when I was reading into what volatility was.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But you're looking at me. You want me to add?
Yeah.
You want to add some?
Well, I mean, let's talk about it, right? The big revelation for me was talking about the
Sorry.
different types of machines and the different, where they fall into. There's basically 3 types of volatility that are out there.
Yes.
Right?
Low volatility, medium volatility, and high volatility. So let's start out with high volatility, though, because we talk about this, and to me, the high volatility are like the Huff and Puff. Huff
Yes.
and even more Puff. To me, very high volatility on those games. They have a lot of lines, and I know the one time we hit the full boss pig screen, but that was
an anomaly.
One time. We never. Most of the time when we play that game, it doesn't.
It's feast or famine.
It is. It really is feast or famine.
Yep.
And what we found out doing the research, which I'll post a few links down below so you could do the research yourself, see it. A lot of what the concepts of it are in layman's terms, so you really have to kind of dive in and pilfer out some of that information in the jargon, just because it can get a little overwhelming. But yeah, so one of the ones that we found out is a really high volatility are the Light and Wonder games, which I love, but the lock and links, the lock and links are high volatility, which makes so much sense. And even when we're betting those on Quick Hits, not a sponsor, but when we have played them on Quick Hits, it's terrible. Like, they suck. I stay so far away from those games when I'm playing on Quick Hits, which, I don't go on it all that often, but when I do, I just stay away from them. Were there other ones aside the Lock and Link?
Yeah, so Lock and Link and Dancing Drums. Dancing Drums was classified as a high volatility as well. And again, not because of the number of lines, because Dancing Drums has 243 lines, right? As opposed to 1,000 lines in some of the other machines.
Yeah.
So it's not actually about the line count, which to me, that was an aha moment.
I didn't know that
That
either.
was like lightning struck my brain. Like, what?
I had no clue.
I was completely wrong on that, right? It really does boil down to how the machine is designed to pay out and when it's designed to pay out. So what I equate in my head is I can have 2 different machines that are both 96% RTP.
Right.
They both have the exact same RTP and return to player.
Yeah.
But they're going to feel so different because of the volatility of the machine and how it's classified and how it's built and how it's designed.
Yeah.
So when you're playing high volatility machines, it's assuming that you're going to play max bet. It's assuming that you're going to do either max lines or max bet. If you're on a penny denom, you're betting 880.
Right, because those are the multipliers. So if you're betting the lowest denomination, that's a ×1, and we talk about that in our videos as well when we're doing gambling. We say, oh, okay, we're doing minimum bet on a ×1. The second one level is a ×2, and then you have all the way up to whatever the max bet is. And people do say, and other gamblers and professional gamblers say to do max bet. And when we're doing the 3 reel, we do max bet 5 lines.
Yep.
And we do it, normally it's just a ×1 bet. So sorry.
No, that's okay. But the idea behind it is at doing max bet on Dancing Drums, it's going to be, again, a very large feast or famine. It's the way the game is designed. It's designed to not get a whole bunch of hits. It's designed to actually get what they call the droughts. So you'll have a lot of drought periods where you're just getting nothing or very, very small. And then all of a sudden, boom, you get all the dogs, right? Or you get the 3 drums and get jumped into the bonus. And all of a sudden you get that huge bonus that hits.
Right.
But it's a high volatility machine.
Yeah.
It's how it's designed.
And there's no secret to being able to gamble or gamble smart. The only secrets that there are is to make sure you're remembering how your emotions are and checking in with yourself to say, am I thinking a type of way about this? Do I feel like this outcome, is going, a certain way? Do I you know, because a lot of what we talk about, especially with the gambler's fallacy, is, you know, the emotional state that you're in, especially when you're gambling, and what that looks like as far as, you know, whether or not you believe that a machine is going to hit, whether or not you know, continue to bet on that. And I know there's a professional gambler out there that says, like, never leave, you know, if the machine's
You know,
scalding,
really
if
throwing
it's
things out there.
scalding,
Yeah.
don't leave it. And it's like, that's emotional betting, and that falls into gambler's fallacy. Just because a machine is hotter, just because you have, you know, won a jackpot on that machine, doesn't mean that it's going to do it again. Now, we still do this because we love the machines that we have won really well on.
Yep.
You know,
And we find ourselves drawn back to them every
we
time.
find ourselves drawn back to them every single time. Now,
Yep.
that's emotional betting, because you're like, it did it one time, it's going to do it again. No,
Yeah.
it won't. But, you know, as far as volatility, so you have your low volatility machines, which a lot of times are your 3-reel, what is it, double diamond?
Yeah, they call that
triple double diamond.
You got it. The old Wheel of Fortune 3 reels.
Old Wheel of Fortune 3 reels. Then you also have your medium, which tend to be a lot of the links. Your
Yep.
Dragon Link.
Phoenix Link.
I don't know about Phoenix Link though. I don't know, and I didn't research Phoenix Link, because not only does it have 25 and 50 lines, but it goes from 1 cent all the way up to $10. Like the denomination on the new machines coming out are outrageous.
But what's interesting is when you read the game rules, and this was the other thing that I read when I was doing the research, the reason why those are considered medium volatility is strictly because those are designed that as you up your denomination, if you go from 1 cent to 2 cent to 5 cent, you have it actually increases your chances of landing the grand or the major or the maxi. It increases your chances of landing those because you're going up in denom and you're going up across your maximum bet.
But isn't that like most of the machines though? Because they say if you do full bet, you have, you know, a better chance of getting the grand, or a higher chance of, which is true, because when we've done 5 cent, a lot of the times when we've done 5 cent on certain machines, we've got the
we've seen the minors, we've seen the, you know, the things that we wouldn't normally see. So that is correct, but not every machine is designed that way.
No,
when you
I
think
know.
about it, Rising Rockets immediately comes to mind.
Okay.
And the reason that comes to mind is if you read the rules on Rising Rockets, it specifically says the gameplay up here, how full the rockets are, has absolutely zero bearing on the gameplay whatsoever.
And again, that's a psychology show. That's
exactly.
A psych show.
That's a psych show. So with that machine specifically, that one does not increase your chances of seeing the minor, the grand, or the bigger progressives as you up your bet. So that one, to me, is 100% a medium volatility.
Okay.
Because it does not increase your chances, right? Your chances are the exact same regardless of where you're at.
Regardless of what it is.
So to me, that's medium volatility, not high volatility or low volatility.
But I thought that also said in the game instructions on that if you bet higher, you have a more likelihood of hitting the grand, which was very surprising to me, and it leads into the fact of the Dragon Link, because we were playing that one Dragon Link over by the cafe.
Yeah.
And we ended up hitting a major
on 50 cents.
On 50 cent.
Right.
Never would have thought. But I guess that's why they are, which makes sense, because even the lady, when we were walking in, you know, this last time, she was doing a Dragon
buck and a
Link.
quarter. She was 5 cent, buck and a quarter.
Buck and a quarter, and she ended up hitting the grand for $15,000. I was like, yeah, get it, lady. Woo, get it, lady. But yeah.
So to bring it all back, what we learned about volatility is, again, it can directly impact a game's, nothing affects the RTP. RTP is set, right? It can drastically affect your gameplay and your experience if you're not prepared for the right type of experience. So what we did say that we've always stuck by that is true is you have to determine what type of experience you want when you walk through the casino.
Yeah.
Right? The very first thing you do when you get to the casino, don't just sit down at the first machine, right? Don't just sit down at the machine that's right there by the door, because part of the psych show, right, is casinos do have, just like we know, they have the layout of the casino. The machines are strategically placed. The color of the carpet.
Everything is
psychological. They will actually not place high volatility machines. They'll place medium volatility machines. The reason why you see the Dragon Links and Phoenix Links and all those machines.
It said the higher volatility are on the outside.
They're in the higher traffic areas.
Yes, yes.
Yes, so you're correct. They will place the higher volatility machines in the high traffic areas because they want people to see the big bonuses. They want to see the big payouts. You know, those ones that happen, you know, randomly across the board. They want those big dollar payouts because then more people are going to sit down and play that machine.
Play the machine.
So it is very strategic in that sense.
Just like having it dark so you can't see what time it is outside.
Or how long you've been in the machine.
And how long you've been at the machine. And that's why for us, we try to, you know, every few hours, you know, you take a break, you let your mind reset, because, you know, you could get into this mindset where, you know, even if you're emotionally betting or, you know, machines are hitting, you get into the mindset, well, I don't want to stop, you know, because we're on a heater. And that's not necessarily the case. You do need to take a break. You do need to regroup. You know, you need to see where you're at, you know, emotionally, check in with each other or whomever you're gambling with. But yeah, because that's really important too. You want to, because sometimes it gets exciting and you got to kind of like pull yourself back in and be like, okay, you know.
Yep. And on the flip side of that too, right? When you're down, you have to recenter yourself, because we've said it so many times, right? The energy you put out there is the energy you get back. And if you're down and you're putting that energy out there, that's the energy you're going to reflect back.
It's true.
So sometimes you have to take that disconnect. You have to walk away.
Yeah, the negativity, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's just funny when people talk about, and other gambling channels and stuff talk about energy, and they talk about, you know, and we talk about a lot of gratitude, right? Because it's being in that state of mind where you're happy enough to be able to, you know, feel you know, everybody's different. Everybody's got a thing, but I love to be grateful for every single thing that we have. As we're definitely grateful for you for watching and being here on this journey with us. And I know I've said it 1,000 times, but I will say it again. We love you all so much, and we're so grateful that you take time out of your day to spend it with us. There's nothing. I mean, it's just magical. It's magical to us. So, did you want to end? Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I think the overall theme, if we could, you know, bring everything back to an overall theme for the video for today, it really is, just like we said before, determine what type of experience you want when you get to the casino, right? Does our bankroll allow us to do a little bit bigger bets? Do I want to start looking at these high volatility machines? Do I want to look at the Huff and Puff machines, Huff and Puff Grand? Do I want medium volatility? Do I want to go a little more towards the Dragon Link or the Phoenix Link or anything like that? You know, what does my bankroll allow?
Yeah.
And if your bankroll is smaller and you just want to, you know, be able to get some longevity out of it, there is something to be said for those low, quote unquote, low volatility machines, the lower line machines. But understand that if you have $100 to your bankroll and you want to put that on a medium volatility machine, absolutely do it, right? Because that's the type of experience you want. You want that balance, right?
Yes.
Let me sit down at Dragon Link and let's see what it does. If you're like, hey, I just want to longevity this out, I want to sit here for an hour, well, then you're going to go to a 5 and 9 line machine, right? Not because of volatility, but because of the design of the machine itself. So do your research.
Do your research.
Determine what type of experience you want, and then go have fun.
Go have fun. That's what it's about. It's about having fun, bringing that positivity, and, you know, knowing it's entertainment.
Yep. And at the end of the day, if you happen to go up and you end up having a great experience, that's awesome.
That's even better.
You know, if you didn't, well, you know, you got to have an experience.
And maybe next time, you know, maybe there's next time.
Exactly.
Because there's, you know.
Because there's no secret to gambling, and there's no, you know, there's nothing that says that you're going to win or not going to win next time. It is all luck. It is all just RNG. It is all random.
Yeah.
So enjoy it.
Yep. Well, thank you for being here with us. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. And we'll catch you on the next one. We love you. We'll see you later. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here with us on this amazing journey. Make sure you come back tomorrow to watch our full session of our FreePlay Friday. Let us know in the comments if you like this style of vlog, and we will see you tomorrow.